When was the last time that you experimentally validated what it is you want to do or how? And I ask this question because when I'm talking throughout this video series about doing the thing you want to do the way you want to do it, it might come across sometimes or just be easy to kind of go with the flow and think, yeah, I already know what it is I want to do and how to do it. Maybe I'm not doing it yet right now, but I at least know what that thing is. And this can be a dangerous assumption if left unchecked, because occasionally what happens is it might be terribly outdated. It might be something that when we were younger made sense. It might be something that when we were in a different group, a different context, a different crowd, a different phase of our careers, different phase of our life made sense to us, but that we haven't actually really checked that assumption in a while. And the reason I say experimentally is because it's the sort of thing where part of what's great about this kind of stuff, when it comes to actually doing things, and not just talking about them or thinking about them, is you can find out if you actually like doing it. And I do wonder occasionally if one of the factors that can get between us and doing the things that we want to do might be at least a mild squeamishness, subconsciously more so than strategic, about worrying, finding out, what if that's no longer who I am? What if I no longer find enjoyment out of it? What if I've outgrown it in some sense? Or what if I've moved on from it? Does that somehow cut me off from my past? Does that mess with my identity? Do I feel like I'm having to start over somehow in finding some other thing to identify in that's not what I used to do? An example that comes to mind for this is many years ago I knew a woman who strongly identified with cooking. This individual had lots of cookbooks, would talk about stories of cooking, but really kind of had simmered down substantially many years ago on cooking. And it's just a friend of a friend that I met online back when I was in Atlanta. But it's something where, to actually look at the behavior, the action, cooking was no longer part of this person's life in the way that it used to be. And that's not a judgment call. That's just an observation, because what it might mean is that is somehow, creating a tension mentally between feeling like I should do this thing, even if maybe if we actually got close to it and checked, we'd be like, you know what? I'm done with that. I'm ready to focus on something new now. Or if that might actually be taking a place of discovering a new interest, a new thing that they would actually enjoy. You know what? It's been a long time since I last tried playing music, telling stories, making art, my usual list. And it could be just as much as there's probably for a lot of y'all, I know it was for me, there was an age at which when I first tried tomatoes, I didn't like them, right? When I got older, had tomatoes, I couldn't understand what I didn't appreciate about them to begin with. Our tastes change over time, and that's fine. But all I want to encourage today, as our angle on this, doing what you want to do the way you want to do it, is to not assume as a given, to not assume as trivial, to not take for granted that you already know the answer, or that the answer you know is actually the answer. That it's worth experimentally verifying, which actually works both ways too, right? In addition to, that means doing the thing in part to explore, do I actually like this? Am I actually feeling fulfilled by this? Am I actually exploring my identity and expressing myself through this? But also experimentally verifying, trying out some other things for a basis of comparison, for some sort of reference point. Maybe some things you haven't tried in a while, maybe some things you haven't tried ever. But you may have yet to discover or rediscover the thing that you really want to do and how you want to do it. That in itself might reinvigorate you getting back towards it. That's all I'm going to chat about today. Thanks for being here. I'll see y'all tomorrow.